So we need to get some skylights in here. I have turned off a bunch of stuff, but especially the roof framing is just super noisy. So I want to be able to see through to some of this. I'm just going to start by typing picture. And find the one we downloaded the other week. It's just called Roof, Chaser of Roof. And I'm going to just eyeball it for now. Now I can rotate it. And while I'm okay, so I'm just going to type move here. And I want to grab this top corner. I'm going to snap it to this corner. You can see we're a little large still, so I'm going to come in and just say scale. I'm going to pick this top corner. I'm going to come past to this one. I'm going to hold shift to make sure it stays straight. And now I'm going to come in here. So now I've got it how I want it. And you can see we've got some skylights on here. And if you look at the elevation, they actually do go directly over some of these beams. So don't worry if it looks like you're going to cut into a beam. It's not a problem. What we want to make sure though is that the back of this one is close to this wall but not over it. So I'm going to do a quick transparency change here just to make sure we're fully lined up. So if I come into properties, material, do this. So this is a pretty good tell that we're off, just seeing these topography. So I'm going to use my move here until that looks clear and not as fuzzy. We're still off a little. Let me try and figure out which one I'm actually moving. So yeah, so I could just type move. And I could pick this point and bring it to this point. Now some of the others are off. So it's not a perfect method. Maybe sticking with the actual building is more important. So I'm going to just undo that a few. Right, I'm just going to leave it there. And now I'm going to draw some shapes. I'm going to start with the trapezoid. And it's going to end up below the picture, but that's okay. First, I want to make sure I have everything else locked. All right, good. I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to call it skylights. And make it the active layer. So if you really wanted to, you could start with a single one. You could make a midline, do all that stuff. I am going to just draw the shape from scratch here. And I want to make sure I'm holding shift here though. I don't want to go wonky. And because of this other back wall close thing, I'm going to hold Control Shift and click, get the curve segment, and I just want to move that in. I don't want to mess with that back wall. Because what I'm going to do with this first one is I'm just going to copy it to the other locations. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to pick this curve. Actually, first I'm going to make the rectangle. And now I'm going to pick both curves. Hold Shift. And if I lock plan, I'll quit being asked about that. I'll say copy. And I'm just going to use this front corner. And where's my next one? Is here. Here. And where's our final one? Gets a little tricky to see with all this other stuff going on. Especially since it's snapping somewhere I don't want it to. I'm just going to hit enter and I'm going to do it from a different corner where it's not going to snap. So I'm going to say copy again. From here. And it should be straight back really. So I'm going to hold Shift, come straight back, and somewhere in here. Alright, so I have them placed. I don't know where they are on this. So I'm going to do SEL CRV. And now that's all of them. And then I'm going to raise them up beyond. Oh, great. So before I copied, I should have fixed that one. So let me do a set point here. And we're going to change the Z. But I want to do them individually. That's all right. I'll just do this for now. All right. So now from 3D, I'm going to start with just these two, holding Shift. And then I'm going to bring them down roughly in place. Now I'm going to shift them a little bit to the side to be closer to the photo. Again, because of that back wall. But I don't want to just shift those. I want to get these as well. So I'm going to come back in, hold Shift, hold Shift. And now when I move these, the others will stay in the correct orientation to them. I'm going to do the same thing for the front and the back one. So I'm going to start with just this. I'm going to drag it down to start. Get it where I want height-wise. And this one's, I'm going to call this one good enough. And let's try the back one now. This one definitely needs to shift, so I need to add this line in here and get it in place. And you might be going, why are these still floating in the air? Well, these are going to be what we cut our roof with. So it doesn't really matter how high they are in the air. They're just creating our Boolean difference. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of those. And I'm going to say extrude curve. And all that matters is I come down through the roof. It doesn't matter how far. But I need to turn on our roof framing as well because we need to cut a hole in that. And I need to unlock both of those, otherwise it's not going to let us make any kind of a cut. So I'm going to come in and say Boolean difference. It wants to know what we're subtracting from. That's our roofs. I'll hit enter. What are we subtracting with? And that's all this. I've got these both set to yes. And so these top bits are still here, but I can just delete those separately. Now you can see in the 3D view, we have this opening. We have these at the correct height. So if you wanted, there's two different ways you can do this next part. I'm going to show you each. You decide which method you like. But just like when we made this unusual shape, we can do the same here. We can make 4 different sides and then use join to connect them. So that is srfpt. And I would click corner, corner. So it needs all 4 corners. Hit enter to do it again. Corner. And this won't work if you lock your roof level. You have to keep it unlocked during this bit. And then we're going to turn this top bit into glass. So we can either just say planar surface and click this curve that's already up here. So now it's fully enclosed. I would need to join the 4 sides. I don't want to join the top because it's going to be a different thickness. So I'd say join. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I just say offset SRF. Pick this, hit enter. Right now it's trying to go out. If we go out, what's going to happen because we're on a slant roof is we're going to have a weird gap here. So I'm going to flip this to all go in. I want to make sure the corners are sharp. And I don't want it huge, but a 1/2 inch is probably fine for glass. But for this, probably do something like we did for the trim downstairs, just to keep it from being totally obnoxious. I'm just going to do 3 inches. And I'm going to hit enter. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to say offset surface. I'm going to click this. I'm going to hit enter. And now it's going, what direction is it going? I have a hard time seeing the arrows. Oh, they're going up. Okay. So I want it to go down. And again, something like a 1/2 inch is fine here. It's pretty thick even for glass, but if you have triple pane. Alright, so now I want to get the surface and just delete it so that I can see the poly surface. And now I can come into my properties, and instead of use layer material, I'm going to click drop down and I'm going to say glass. And now I can see through it. So your other option is something called loft. Either way, whichever one you choose, you're just going to make one and then copy it, because we use the same shape to make all these differences. You can have one original and copy it 3 times. So for loft to work though, I first need to draw a polyline on the roof surface. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to grab these corners. So the nice part about doing it this way is it automatically becomes a single thing. There's no joining afterwards. Everything else is the same. You still do offset surface. You choose your direction and your thickness. So this is really the only difference in the process is using the command loft. So I'm going to pick up here. I'm going to pick down here, making sure I get the curve. Just hit enter. And I'm going to see what this looks like. Oh no, I don't want it going all the way there. So you want it to be two that are close to each other. So I don't want to come from this corner to the front. I want to come from the back right to the back right. And now I'll hit enter. And I'll leave these as defaults. And you can see it's the same shape. Make glass on the top. Extrude. Copy into place. If you are going to copy, where'd my glass go? Oh, here it is. There's my glass. I'm going to hold shift. I'm not going to get the thin layer. I'm going to get the one with some depth. And I'm going to say group. Now that I have it grouped, I can say copy. I'm just going to grab this front corner. Hit enter when you're done with your copies. And that is it for the skylights. We'll deal with topography in the next round.